Welcome, welcome to the pre-show here of the Timber Sports World Championships individual version 2023. Think of this as the aperitif before the delicious main meal, you might say. We're going to check out the movers and shakers and have a little look at some of the main players today and kind of warm you up for the big action coming up. Speaking of big action, I am surrounded here by delicious Canadians myself. First of all, thank you very much, special guest, former springboard world record holder, of course, and I've heard future world record holder as well, potentially, and all-round Canadian good egg, Sterling Hart. Thank you, mate, for spending some time with us today.
Thanks a lot for having me in studio. If I can't be out there on stage chopping wood, this is the next best place to be, isn't it?
Absolutely right. Yes. That's what they say. And of course, I'm winged on the other side by the Canadian cooler himself. Some say that he has kings and queens in his line of descendancy, but who knows, because he's chopped his family tree down. It's the voice of Timber Sports himself, Troy Mannering. Thanks for having me, mate.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, it's good to be in the studio again, of course. It's going to be a bit cuddly here. It's a Matt sandwich, and we're expecting some good action here today for our STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championship. It's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely right, yeah, because you mentioned the word individual. We are going to look at individual athletes today, but yesterday it was all about the teams.
Oh, yes.
So we had a packed house here in the Porsche Arena in Stuttgart, Germany. 6,000 fanatical fans saw Australia take home the team championships. What we thought we'd do is have a quick run through and let these experts have a little bit of a talk about it. Let's have a look at some of the action from yesterday. Okay, so we're going to go straight to the semi-final level. That was the United States versus, well, wouldn't you know, it's Canada, Sterling. Do you remember this?
Absolutely. You know, we've come up against the States so many times in the past. We knew that we were going to have to cut the best race we had in us if we were going to get there. And, you know, we were dead even coming off that stock saw. We got Marcel Dupuis on the underhand for us, but Matthew Koger on the underhand for the States is one of the best underhand cutters in the world.
He's lightning, isn't he?
He is an absolute phenom on the underhand, and he showed exactly why he's one of the best. And this put us in a real hole here, but you know, Marcel drew a really tough block in this one, and that's just luck of the draw. But we had Ben Cumberland on the single going up against Mark Boquin, a new guy to the stage, but you see him power through there. And I knew catching up to Jason Lentz at this point was going to be a bit of a tall feat. So I actually shortcut my block a little bit, as in took less hits in the front and took a risk on the back to try and catch up to him.
Why
but he
would
was
you
just
want to do that?
Well, because if I cut my normal race, there was no way that I was going to be able to make up the hits. As you see there, though, it just wasn't enough for us to catch up to them. So that put the States into the finals and us into the small final, waiting to see who we would face between Australia and New Zealand.
Disappointment at that stage?
Disappointment at this stage, but we talked about it today, that as soon as we knew we had lost, you know, you are down on yourselves, but you're not done. It's time to go. And I said to the guys, let's go get a medal and get ready.
Well, talking about people going and getting medals, we saw Australia and New Zealand, two of the pre-tournament favourites, go up against each other in the other semi. This was a cracker, wasn't it, Troy?
Yeah, it was an absolutely fantastic race. And I mean, these are two countries that have, let's call it a love-hate relationship with each other when it comes to being on stage. I mean, they're both so fantastic. And in the team competition, both of these teams have had their title on that trophy over the last year. So you know that they definitely won it against each other. But Australia is just so well practiced. And that was a key moment. That was a key moment right there, because Jack had a little thread that was just holding on. And I wonder, maybe Sterling can speak to this a little bit with more expertise, but if he saw maybe there was a little thread there, something that was just holding on, that he wanted to be safe.
Absolutely, Jack Jordan also, but going against Braden Meyer, like undoubtedly the best underhand cutter in the world in this type of wood.
Yeah.
So Jack was putting it all out there because he knew he had to take down Australia. And that one hit that you saw him have to go back and fix, that's what it looks like in the end.
Yeah, the difference maker right there.
We haven't had the opportunity to talk to Jack about it, have we? But we were wondering whether maybe there wasn't a thread. He thought that there was and went back just to double check, and that was what led to the time penalty, because the next colleague wasn't sure. Either way, it led to the third place playoff between yourselves, Canada and New Zealand. Maybe talk us through what your thoughts were as you heard the whistle go here.
Absolutely. We knew going against these guys, if we were going to take down New Zealand, this was everything hanging out. We had to have perfect transitions. Everybody was able to go full tilt.
Right.
There was no holding back, and that's what I was just yelling at Marcel, just to hit it as hard and as fast as you possibly can.
I can see you there.
And he was like an angry bull on that block. There was snot coming out of his mouth, like the raw aggression BC, we were just a few hits off the pace. But Ben Cumberland on the single saw was so solid for us all day long.
How much, if I can ask you then, how much as an athlete are you watching what's going on the other side of the stage or with your other athletes and stuff? How much are you able to compute and take in?
Well, quite a bit, because it would determine, normally I would put 8 hits in the front, but I put 6 here because I knew if I was going to catch Nathan McDonald, I was going to have to leave it all out on the deck. And I just hit that block with everything I had. And what you see between me and Marcel was just this raw emotion of...
That's genuine, isn't it? That's genuine passion.
We had left it all out on that stage. We gave it everything we had, and that's just pure joy on a bunch of grown men's faces.
But what a wonderful thing, because you often hear that people are disappointed they didn't make it to the final, and it's quote-unquote only third place, but it didn't feel like that for you guys.
Well, they call it the consolation round for a reason, because even though you didn't win, it's a great difference between winning a bronze medal and losing a gold medal. Right? A silver is a very difficult one to swallow because you were just that close. Interesting.
So the feeling's almost greater to go up to a bronze than to fall down to a silver, something like that?
Well, you're finishing your season on a high note. You know, this is where everybody's worked to get to all year long, competed to make it onto this team. And you're going to see now the top 2 countries in the world this year going head-to-head in our gold medal final.
I was going to say, I remember you predicting before it started yesterday, Troy, that the United States and Australia are probably the 2 favourites in it, and wouldn't you know it, they met in the final again.
Well, it's a repeat of last year as well, and I mean, you know, I mentioned as well, sometimes teams need to learn how to lose before they can learn how to win. And I think that the USA has done enough, let's quote-unquote, lost events against the Australians. I believe next year that USA is going to come and they are going to make everybody pay, because they're just on the precipice of going that one step further to becoming the team world champions. And somebody has to take the Australasian teams off the board here, because it's been New Zealand and Australia the last 8 years.
But this was a key moment. You watch. I have never seen Mitchell Argent put 10 hits in the front of a standing block. Those blocks came out extremely hard, but where you see the difference in the Aussies taking this out was the presence of mind and the experience of Mitchell Argent to know that he had to put more hits in that for it to come off, where Jason Lentz, traditionally more of a softwood cutter, instead of like the hardwood that the Australians are used to cutting down under. So there it might have been the experience of Mitchell Argent that took the Australians through to the gold medal.
Fascinating insight. And so there we saw it. Handshakes and kisses all round. The Australians up there again. Are we seeing the start of, I don't know, some kind of unstoppable locomotive here? Can you see in future years any kind of team even scratching the surface on the Australians?
You know, I think it's safe to call Australia a bit of a dynasty at this point.
Yeah.
They've had this same young core going for so long now that when they show up, it's just business as usual for them. And that makes them extremely dangerous, but it also makes it dangerous for them, because complacency can set in when you think you've got it in the bag. And actually, we saw that in the qualifying, where the U.S. actually qualified first by a bit of a margin over. So that actually, I think, motivated Australia and powered them towards the gold, was not being in that driver's seat from the qualifying.
Fascinating insights. Thank you, Sterling.
Here all week.
It's really interesting it's interesting per se to be surrounded by Canadians, but it's particularly interesting. You know, you were on the stage last night. You felt it, you heard it, you sweated it. A day later, how does it feel? Have you come down, or are you still, are the adrenaline levels still high? How do you feel?
Coming over to these world championships, and I think every athlete can attest to this, it's such a vibrant environment being here. Most people, when they compete in North America, Australia, New Zealand, there's not a crowd of this magnitude and this size and, you know, that noise level. So when you come in here, that energy is just pumping all day. And one of the key things when we compete is not letting that energy consume you in the day leading up, because it will consume your energy. And so, you know, by the time we're here competing, you start to get pretty exhausted. And that lasts a while.
Thank you very much indeed for those insights. Fascinating stuff. We're going to go straight over to Florty, who is speaking to one of the world champions from yesterday. Florty, can you hear me, dear sir? And do you have some world champions with you?
Indeed I can, and it's absolutely amazing, because I'm standing within world champions. They've written history. Not only have they won for the 4th time in a row, but for the 10th time, and no other nation has ever achieved anything like this. STIHL Timbersports Team World Champions Australia. Joining me for a small talk. Braden, we took a look at this wonderful trophy, and I asked you a question. I said, which competitions did you take part in that are on this trophy?
Yes, I've been lucky enough to be a part of this winning trophy since 2014. And yeah, like Brad and Lawrence were a bit earlier than me, but yeah, I've been in it the last few times, and it's a good feeling to have 4 in a row.
And all of these you've been a part of. So how does it feel to be back here at the STIHL Timbersports Team World Championships in Stuttgart, where it all started, the home of STIHL?
Yeah, it's a great feeling to come back to Stuttgart. It's the best venue to have it here, the best crowd, and Germany's a great country, so it's always good to come back here and to do it with such a great team, Australia, and the support we get from everyone. We really appreciate it.
So talking about a great team, I have to translate, of course, for everybody who speaks German. Also Braden ist sehr, sehr stolz, hier zu sein. Jedes einzelne Plakett von Australien, das hier drauf ist, ist ein Teil von ihm, denn er war tatsächlich bei jedem dieser Siege mit dabei. Und die 2 Herren neben mir sogar noch ein bisschen früher als er. Und wir haben einen Rookie dann auch noch mit dabei, also ein volles Paket. What we talked about yesterday is celebrating a win like this. Can we go into small details maybe, how that was yesterday?
Yeah, I only had 1 or 2 beers and then went home.
Okay, shall we leave it at that?
Yeah, yep.
So talking about team spirit, it always seems like you're in for a laugh, having a great time, but also bringing the youngsters along.
Yeah, it's good to bring the rookie along, to these sort of venues, and yeah, great experience for him. Probably something, he might never experience again, so it's great that he can get out and do that. But yeah, we had a really good win last night. That's our 8th championship, and I've been lucky enough to be a part of them. Yeah, Stuttgart here holds a very special place for me. This is where I won my first World Championship back in 2013. So hopefully we can repeat that again tonight with Jamie in the individual.
Also er sagt auch für ihn ein ganz besonderer Platz, 8-mal gewonnen diesen Titel. Hier hat er seinen ersten Weltmeistertitel im Individual geholt, drückt natürlich seinem Kollegen, den Jamie, hält heute dann auch noch mal ganz fest die Daumen, dass es passiert. Und was auch ganz, ganz wichtig ist, einen Rookie mitzunehmen, dass der langsam wieder hineinwachsen kann, was natürlich eine schwere Ansage für alle anderen Teams ist. So if you guys are already starting to bring the youngsters along at the World Championship and winning it, that must be something very special for you as well.
Yeah, it definitely is to come across and get some training in with the boys. And to watch them win the team event last night was, yeah, bloody brilliant.
Und ich glaube, da spürt man auch schon den Spirit, wenn er von den anderen 3 als Boys spricht. Also die Jungs haben ihn wirklich sehr, sehr schön aufgenommen. Wir haben auch ein bisschen über das Feiern gesprochen, weil es gestern ein großes Thema war und wir haben gehört, dass es wurde ein Bier getrunken und das war's. Maybe that's going to be different tonight. Not only one beer tonight when the competition's over.
Yeah, we'll see how Jamie goes today. Hopefully he gets the win, and yeah, we can have a big celebration for both of them tonight and really hit the town.
Also ich glaube, zu viele Details werden hier nicht preisgegeben, aber es könnte sein, falls ihr auch entsprechend Stimmung macht, dass man doch gemeinsam hier noch ein bisschen feiern wird, wenn das denn in eurem Interesse ist. So the guys would be happy to celebrate with you after tonight, if that's going to be happy. Die Stimmung hier im VIP-Club, sensationell. Alles, was ich dazu sagen kann, ist, wir gehen zurück ins Studio. Back to the studio, guys. Thanks so much for taking your time. And one more time, congratulations for writing history. Thank you so much. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Flordy. Great stuff. It's always...
Just one beer, huh?
I was going to say, it's always wonderful to hear the timber sports athletes say it as it is. And nice to see that they get something to eat and drink in the VIP club. That's good, isn't it? They get
taken care of up there.
Exactly, very important. So that was yesterday, a great day, but we want to start slowly moving towards the excitement and the action today. So let's start turning our attention to the individual championships. And what I'd like to do first is maybe take a look at the function of how that works, of who gets here, right? We've got some of the top athletes in the world here today. So let's take a look at a graphic that will begin to explain who got here and how. Right, so there is the so-called European ranking system. Maybe you could help us understand this a little bit, Troy.
Well, you can look at the European ranking system kind of like an individual competition between nations. You can see that each of the nations, so for instance, Denny Martin for Germany has underhand chop, standing stock saw, standing block chop, and then you can see single buck, springboard, and hot saw. That's lined up on the top right-hand side of the screen there. And each of those points is like the timing scores that you would get for your ratings as you go through the season, and they take the top 8 athletes.
Different ranking events throughout Europe.
Correct, yeah. So they throughout the season they take the best scores from each of these previous each of the athletes that you see here, and then they take the top 8 athletes. So you see Koen Martens number 2, Mika Dubitsky, Emil Hansen, Pierre Pouet-Barré, Redmer Knoll, Martin Roussel, and Cyril Papst representing Switzerland in that case. Those are the athletes that we'll see competing in the individual world championship here today. Unfortunately for Armin Kugler, Glenn Penlington, for Bjorn Sonsteby, and Alessandro Chiapponi, those guys were just outside the wire. And for our New Zealand, Australian, Canadian, and American friends, they all are basing their athletes being sent over because of how they performed in their national championships, correct?
Yeah, you mentioned that. So that's how the European system works. How does it work outside of Europe then?
Absolutely. Just like he said, we have a national championship in each country. So basically, a lot of countries will have even a qualifier to see who gets into that national championship, such as the U.S. does. In Canada, we also have a qualifier actually for West and East. So both sides compete at the qualifier. Then we take the top 12 through to our national championship. And then from there, the champion is crowned. They go over to take on the individual and represent Canada. And then from there, we also take the top 4 in each event. And that will determine who is on the team. And that is the same in each country, and that's how we choose in the other 4 countries overseas.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, so we get it whittled down to 12. They come from different countries. What we thought we'd do is take a look at some of the potential main players here today. We're going to start with Jamie Head from Australia. So here we can see a couple of details about him. I'm reliably informed that he likes to be known as Jim. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's just kind of how he's known. Everybody knows anybody that's met an Australian, they're going to shorten your name. So Jamie's no exception here. But he comes from a lineage of competitors. His father was a many-time champion as well in wood chopping, and so Jim's just following along in Dad's footsteps.
Good competitor?
Extremely. Any competitor that comes to represent Australia, you know, Jim's been in this series since it was still just a part of the U.S. series. He's been competing in the STIHL Timbersports for over 15 years, so it's finally his time, and I bet we see him try to make the most of it today.
Interesting.
Yep. And he's been part of that World Championship team 5 times as well. You probably saw that in the graphics. So, you know,
you've got to have something to get into that team,
as Sterling mentioned, he's got pedigree as far as the sport is concerned, so he brings a lot to the table here.
Absolutely. Another one who brings something to the table is the Belgian Koen Martens. We saw him recently at the Benelux Championships, Troy. There he is. He's a lot bigger than he looks in that little caption there. I've got to tell you, he's a big strapping lad. Talk us through the possibilities for Koen today.
I mean, Koen is always there. He's always in the mix. He's just missing that one little spark sometimes. But Sterling and I actually ran into him on the way over, and he did explicitly say to both of us, I've been training for all 6 events. So that might mean good things for Sterling because he's such an excellent competitor. I mean, it's just fantastic, the things that he does out there. And I don't know, maybe you see it a different way than I do, Sterling, but it's just a small thing that put him over the edge.
So let's look at the next. He was standing where you're standing this time last year. He did a little bit of commentary for us. Ben Cumberland, also up on stage yesterday. A couple of words about Ben.
Such a solid competitor. You know, he is extremely strong in all 6 events.
Wow.
And, you know, I don't have enough good things to say about him. We were in our training camp this past week, and, you know, we were all cutting our individual events, and Ben would go and do a little training on each event himself. Each time he'd come over and cut an underhand or a standing, me and Marcel would just look at each other like, why are we even here? I have never seen him in this kind of form before. It's he's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, it could be one to watch.
Absolutely, it definitely could be good.
Very, very interesting. Another one, very possibly to watch, and we've certainly round the campus in the last couple of days heard his name quite a bit, and that is Jack Jordan, the 2-time World Trophy winner and still current World Trophy champion. That's a slightly different format, but it has 4 of the 6 events that we're going to see today. What do you think of Jack Jordan's chances today?
I'm going to throw a quarter in the pond and say Jack Jordan will be on the podium today. Where I'm not
Wowee.
going to say because, yeah, I mean, you know, he's a fantastic competitor. He's a big boy. You've seen him in the team competition. He can do what he needs to do out there. Whether or not he brings the whole thing together, including the springboard and the hot saw, is going to be the big question here.
He is certainly a favourite in some people's eyes. Another potential, well, I don't know whether I'd say favourite, but possibly a dark horse might be Mikhail Dubitsky. He's been there and done it, got the T-shirt, I think it's fair to say, right?
Absolutely. You know, he's still fairly new in this sport, but the rate at which he's progressed, I remember going over to train these guys in Poland 4 or 5 years ago, and he was just getting started.
Right.
And you see his Instagram handle there as Axe Machine, and that is very, very accurate. The pace at which he swings that axe and the force, he is undoubtedly a machine.
His social media team will be delighted that you plugged his Instagram there. They'll absolutely love that. All right, let's look at another potential favourite. That could be the American Jason Lentz. So you stood about 15 yards away from him yesterday and competed right alongside him.
And standing 15 yards away, I could still feel the earth shake when he hits that block.
He's a big boy.
He is built like a brick outhouse. He is a big man.
He's a big guy.
But he
isn't
knows how to use that power. And, you know, same thing, comes from lineage, and he is great at every event. And what makes him especially dangerous, he is one of the best hot saw runners in the world.
So it could be a quick finish. Okay, and last but not least, we wanted to take a quick look at one of the most charming gentlemen on the tour, and that's the local hero, Danny Martin. He's going to have 6,000 crazy Stuttgartians supporting him here today.
And speaking of hot saw, he is one of those very adept athletes when it comes to having the hot saw in hand. He did, for a short while, hold the world record in hot saw. That's something that's been kind of up and down a lot lately, but if he cuts well, if he cuts consistency and clean today, he could also possibly be on the podium.
All right, we're going to take a short break here. You take a short break as well. Check out a couple of messages from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Steel dealers.
last time that the STIHL Timbersports World Championship took place in Stuttgart is almost a decade ago, 2016. But the earth still trembles from the sounds of shattered wood. That was definitely one to remember. It's gonna be hard to fit into those giant footsteps. But trust me, just this once, we're about to take it to the next level. You do know what a home advantage is, right? So, Stuttgart is the home of STIHL. And the Porsche Arena will not rest until everyone, and I mean everyone, will be at the edge of their seats. So if I haven't been more than crystal, you shouldn't miss these.
Welcome to the STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championships 2023. Coming to you from the incredible sold-out Porsche Arena here in Stuttgart in downtown Germany. It's wonderful to have you with us. Thanks for stopping by. My name is Matt Beadle. I'm going to be your host for the next couple of mental hours that we are going to share together. And I say we because I am shadowed by a couple of wonderful experts today, starting with, of course, the very voice of Timbersports himself. Some say that they're working on a way to channel green energy from his motor mouth. He is the Canadian cooler. It's Troy Mannering. Thanks for having you with us, mate.
The intros get weirder and weirder every time for Matt Beadle, and this time I think it was 6 welcomes. I mean, it's going to be a fantastic day today. We have the individual world championship ahead of us with 6 events planned, or 6 disciplines planned, where you're going to see absolute banana gong show action out there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You are in the right place, as is my other very special guest, and since about 22 hours, bronze medalist. Congratulations, Team World Championships yesterday. Sterling Hart, you're very welcome, mate.
Yeah, I mean, if I can't be out on stage, I can't think of anywhere better than to be back here with you guys, letting everybody in on what's actually going on behind the scenes.
That is the
and
plan.
keeping us honest.
Exactly. We're going to get a couple of insider tips. You know what? What we're going to do is we're going to see one of the most extraordinary records in Timbersports history, and it was set by the very gentleman here in this room just a couple of years back. Check this out.
3, 2, 1, go!
Walk us through this one, Sterling, because, I mean, this was an incredibly fast run you had here against Jason Wynyard, a legend in the sport.
Yeah, you know, I had spent a lot of time training for this specific event on that specific day. I had set it all up. I had run that race 1,000 times in my mind. I climbed those first 2 boards exactly how I wanted to. Once I got up there, I knew that I had the piece of wood up top where that record could be in reach. That record, of course, being held by a fellow Canadian, Mitch Hewitt, at the time. And right here, you see that last hit. I didn't know I had the record until I looked behind me.
You made a quick look there, didn't you?
But it all came together when it needed to.
It was a special day. The record, sadly for you, has been broken since. But you were telling me earlier, you think that record's not done.
No. And this summer it was actually broken by an American, Walt Page.
Yeah.
And now I've competed with Walt for quite a while. He lives out on the west coast of the U.S., so close to me. We compete against each other. And if I was going to lose that record to anybody, I don't mind it being somebody like Walt. He put in the time. He earned that record. It's all his for now. But, you know, records are made to be broken.
They are. And you know what? I was asked earlier by a member of staff here, do we think we're going to see any records today? We've got the best of the best here today. Let's be honest, 12 phenomenal athletes that have qualified through their local country systems. We're gonna have a new world champion at the end of the day, come what may, because Brad Delosa can't defend his title.
No, unfortunately, Brad Delosa is not going to be able to compete this year, but instead it's going to be Jamie Head representing Australia here today. But that being said, I mean, there are a bunch of athletes that are here, and you even mentioned earlier on, Sterling, that the wood is good. It's cutting very well, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this day follows suit.
Absolutely right. We're going to go straight over to the arena with our local German host, Sandy, and of course, Timbersports legend, Floaty. Floaty.
Und ich bin sehr, sehr stolz und sehr, sehr glücklich. It's an absolute honor and a pleasure. And the man next to me, he is from Stuttgart. Hier ist er zu Hause und vor 10 Jahren bei der STIHL Timbersports Weltmeisterschaft war er auch schon dabei. Es ist mir eine große Ehre, dass er heute ebenfalls hier das Mikrofon in die Hand nimmt. Ihr kennt ihn ganz sicher alle, wenn ihr aus Stuttgart seid. Ladies and Gentlemen, the one and only Alexander Franke, a.k.a. Sandy.
Wow, ist das eine Stimmung hier, meine Güte. Und ihr habt es ja schon gemerkt, wir moderieren natürlich heute zweisprachig. Zum einen, weil man uns in ganz Deutschland natürlich sieht und hört. Hallo, herzlich willkommen. Und zum anderen, weil wir in der ganzen Welt zu sehen sind. Wir sind sogar in Neuseeland. Ich finde das so krass, Floaty.
It's absolutely amazing. Hello New Zealand, hello Australia, hello Canada, and of course hello United States of America. We're having a ball, we're rocking it. This is Porsche Arena in Stuttgart, and of course it's not only Sandy and me, but we have an amazing DJ who came all the way from Gothenburg. So ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for the one and only DJ Peter Wikström. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane.
Wow.
But that's STIHL Timbersports.
Ja. Aber wir wären natürlich nichts ohne unseren DJ und ohne unsere tollen Kommentatoren, die durch die gesamte Show auch führen, das Ganze auch während der Wettkämpfe kommentieren werden. Herzlich willkommen in der Show. Schön, dass ihr dabei seid.
And now it is time. Surely starts the competition. Und Sandy, du weißt, es gibt ganz, ganz viele Menschen, die hier im Hintergrund mitarbeiten, dass STIHL Timbersports so gut funktioniert, wie es funktioniert. Und ich glaube, jetzt sollten wir langsam aber sicher an die Offiziellen denken.
Exactement. Du kannst uns sagen, wer hier verantwortlich ist von der Official Side.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, dear STIHL Timbersports fans, please welcome our global sports directors, starting with the one and only Mr. Spike Milton. He is accompanied by Mr. Nathan Waterfield. And of course, we also have judges here on stage. So make some noise for the man from Germany, Dr. Jörg Kurzenberger! Next to Jörg, the voice of our judges, please welcome Mr. Andrew Hall!
Was sind wir eigentlich für eine geile Sportart hier bei den STIHL Timbersports World Championships? Wenn man überlegt, dass sogar die Schiedsrichter einen so großen Applaus bekommen, haben sie sich verdient, aber wir haben natürlich auch noch einen Videobeweis. CCC nennt sich das Ganze, Competition Control Center, und wir grüßen ganz recht herzlich dort Dr. Rich Hallett, Jules Jansen, Radu Kasako und Bart Jansen. Da sieht man sie in unserem Videokeller. Tja, und dann kommen wir zum wichtigsten Part, oder?
Are you guys ready to meet the 12 athletes here at the STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championship?
Ein großer Applaus für unsere Athleten.
And we're going to start with the man representing Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the one and only Jim Head. Ja, sie sind vielleicht noch ein wenig zu leise. So where are the fans? There he is, approaching the stage. Give it up for Jim Head.
World Champion im Team und heute geht's im Einzel weiter. Wir freuen uns jetzt aus Belgien, Koen Martens.
Let's meet another favorite all the way from Canada. Put your hands together for Ben Cumberland.
From Czech Republic, Martin Rušal.
He loves the crowd, doesn't he? What a man. 150 Ks.
Ja, da sind die Fans aus Tschechien schon. Sollen wir das nachher auch hören?
As we await the man from France, here is Pierre Pubaré.
Aus den Niederlanden, from the Netherlands, Redmer Knoll.
Representing New Zealand, make some noise for Mr. Jack Jordan!
Und wo sind die Fans aus Polen? Wer ist Polska? Michal Dubicki!
Switzerland in the house. Put your hands together for Cyril Papst.
Die Kuhglocken, ich hab sie vermisst. From Sweden, Emil Hansson.
Representing the United States of America, here is Jason Lentz.
Elf haben wir zusammen. Einer fehlt noch, ne? Da fehlt doch, ein Land fehlt doch noch. Irgendwie,
Es waren definitiv 12.
Es waren 12.
Yes, yes.
Ich sehe so viele Fahnen noch, irgendwie ein Land hatten wir, glaube ich, noch nicht. Wir können ja mal in einen Clip hineinschauen, wer da noch fehlen könnte. Schauen wir mal zusammen.
Das ist überragend von Eddie Martin.
Wahnsinn.
Lässt er das Ding da fliegen?
alleine da zu stehen und Deutschland zu vertreten, das ist natürlich auch ein großer Druck. Ich bin, denke ich, sehr groß respektiert im Sechskampf. Die Jungs haben gesehen, was ich kann letztes Jahr auf der WM und ich werde daran arbeiten, dass es genauso wird. Das sind ja, die 12 Besten der Welt und da muss man natürlich auch jede Runde erstmal überstehen. Ich denke, wenn ich das abrufen kann, was ich kann, ohne irgendwie was übers Knie zu brechen, dann haben die großen Jungs Druck.
So wollen wir ihn sehen. So wollen wir Danny Martin sehen.
Hier ist für Deutschland Danny Martin! Wo seid ihr? Vollgas! Germany is in the house!
Very much looks like it.
Wow!
Things are starting to get hot in here.
Das sind sie also, unsere 12 Athleten, die 12 weltbesten Timbersportler sind heute hier. Wir freuen uns, dass wir einen tollen Abend verleben dürfen. Tja, wir wollen aber natürlich an dieser Stelle auch einem ganz, ganz besonderen Sportler gedenken. Vor ziemlich genau einem Monat ist Jason Wynyard leider Gottes verstorben. Er ist einer der großartigsten Timbersportler aller Zeiten gewesen. 9-mal hat er allein den Einzelwettbewerb gewonnen. Und ich würde sagen, wir schicken jetzt einen großen Applaus in den Himmel zu Jason.
An absolute legend has left us way too early. Yesterday we had some very touching moments with all the teams saying goodbye to Jason together here on stage. So thank you very much for your applause for Jason.
Floti hat es gesagt, wir haben in einem langen Film gestern Jason schon ausführlich geehrt und nochmal gedacht. Das ist das Wichtigste und ich glaube, der Film hätte noch ein paar Stunden gehen können, so viel wie er geleistet hat für unseren Sport. Aber jetzt kommen wir auch zu dem, was ihm immer das Liebste war und das ist eben der Sport gewesen, sein Timbersport und damit gehen wir jetzt erstmal zurück ins Studio.
Fantastic scenes there in the Porsche Arena. Wow, we can hear it vibrating through the walls here to the studio. Wonderful moments as well, of course, for Jason. You knew him well.
Yeah, I would say just about every competitor up there on that stage, I would say they all do know Jason quite well. Our sport would not be where it is today without a Jason Wynyard, and it's a great loss to our whole community.
Thank you very much. Beautiful words. Right, let's get down to business. Dear viewers, it's Timber Sports time. It's the World Championship time. This is the format of the competition.
The STIHL Timbersports individual competition. In the first round, all athletes compete in 3 disciplines: the underhand chop, the stock saw, and the standing block chop. The times achieved will be converted into points upon completion of each discipline. In round 1, a difference of 1 point applies in each discipline, thus the fastest athlete received 12 points and the slowest only 1 point. Any rule infraction will result in a disqualification and the athlete will receive 0 points for that discipline. At the end of the first round, the athletes with the lowest scores are eliminated. Only 8 athletes make it to the second round. In this second round, the remaining athletes compete in the single buck and the springboard for increased scores. With 2 points difference between placings, the fastest athlete now receives 16 points and the slowest receives 2. The 2 athletes with the lowest total points are eliminated at the end of round 2. Only the top 6 reach the third round. In the third round, anything is still possible in the hot saw, as an increased score interval of 3 points applies in this final round. The fastest athlete can score up to 18 points at the hot saw, the slowest only 3 points. The athlete who manages to achieve the highest total score across all 3 rounds is the new champion.
So we understand how the competition works. Why don't we check out the tool and the setup for the first event? Here we go.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. Underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut through a 32 centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides.
Right then, let's get down to business, dear Timber Sports fans. The first event will be the underhand chop. We're going to see 6 heats, starting with Roussel versus Puberé, then Martens Knoll, Cumberland, Pabst in the third heat. It'll be Martin, the local boy, against Trubitsky, the Pole. Then it'll be Lentz Head, and we will wrap it up with Hanson and the favourite Jack Jordan. The world record stands at 12:01. What do we think? Might we see any world records fall today?
Well, that's a tough call. It's always possible, and as Sterling did mention earlier on, the wood is looking very good for this competition, but it is a natural product, so anything can happen. You could find a knot in there. All sorts of things can go awry. You could chip the blade. It's anybody's guess, but like, we're crossing our fingers for a world record because that makes it really fun for us here in the studio, of course, and obviously that's a fantastic thing for the athletes out on stage.
Really quickly, Sterling, you saw the players for the first round here, underhand chop. Any standout for you, particularly for this event?
Coming up in this first heat, 2 of our strongest competitors from Europe, so we're going to see what happens here.
And we are kicking off the STIHL Timber Sports Individual World Championships 2023 with the underhand chop. This is Heat 1. It will be Martin Roussel going up against the Frenchman Pierre Pubaré.
Martin Roussel was one of the main members for the Czech team in the competition when it was in the Czech Republic in 2019. I remember his reaction after he hit that last driver on the standing block chop. He just went bananas and the whole hall exploded. And here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Getting right into it right away. These two guys are going to be trying to get as cleanly through that first side and switch over to the other side. Let's see who's going to get there first, and obviously we like that action from the hall. It's Martin Roussel moving over to the other side. He's cutting really well today. Pierre Pubaré looking to try and get a good time here. Unlike the competition yesterday, this is a non-elimination situation, so these guys are battling to try and get the best time possible on that stage. And it looks like we've got a good time from Pierre Pubaré, 27:09, and Martin Roussel, who I thought was going to get that one faster, got it in 30.43.
Great start from the first 2 here in Heat 1. Roussel with a time unconfirmed as yet with 30.43. Pierre Pubaré nearly 3 seconds faster, 27:09. Sterling, what did you see just then?
Yeah, what I saw were some safe fronts, what we would call. You saw 10 hits from the Czech Martin Roussel, 11 from Pierre Pubaré. That sets them up to have a lot more options on the back. But what I did notice was a bit of a crust on the outside of those logs, and that's what you saw the times dip a little bit.
Also noticed that Martin found a knot, and he wasn't too pleased with that. He tossed it to the middle of the stage there.
All right, both guys are good.
There is the confirmation from our judge that the cuts were both good. Roussel will put a time of 30.08 on the board, and Pubaré will take a slightly better revised time of 26:79 into the next heat. So talk us through it. You said 11 and 10s was what you saw.
Absolutely. Now, we saw picture-perfect fronts from both of these guys on the front. And I don't know if we're going to get a shot of it, but that knot that came out of Martin Roussel's block was not just any knot. That's what we call a prune knot. It cannot be identified from the outside, but see what it does? It holds that chip in there and does not let it out.
Yeah.
And a prune knot is known to be an axe killer. It is twice as hard as a knot that can be identified as a branch on the outside of the log, and that's what we saw hold up Martin Roussel in that last heat.
Fascinating. I thought prunes were quite healthy and a source of vitamins, you know. It sounds like they're pretty challenging to timber sports athletes. Wow, interesting stuff. People were talking about Pierre Puberé before the tournament started. Let's see if they're talking about Koen Martens and Redmer Knol as much. This is the underhand chop. Heat number 2. We're going to see the Belgian Koen Martens go up against the Dutchman Redmer Knol.
Redmer took a few good steps this year at the trophy, the World Trophy, and it's really shown in the way that he's taken his training regime to a new level as well. He spent a lot of time in Australia training down under to make sure that he was ready for this game.
These two boys know each other very well. They train together. They've competed against each other a number of times. Here we go.
Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So good start into the blocks by both of the guys. I could see Sterling out of the corner of my eye counting the drivers that's going into the blocks here. And it's Koen Martens switching over to the other side of his block ahead of Redmer Knol.
And look at the chips peeling out of that block. He's going for the drive. One more! And we've got a new leader.
That's a great time by Koen Martens, 19.60. Redmer Knol still trying to get through on that second side. And he's got a couple of sticky axes there as he tries to unwedge them each time he gets the driver through. He's just trying to power through at this point, isn't he?
There he goes. Well done, sir. An unconfirmed time of 35 and change. But wow, we really sitting the cat amongst the pigeons there. Koen Martens with a really fast time, 1960, Sterling.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty happy with that cut. Now, unfortunately for Redmer there, it looks like he did what we call stumping the block, where his hits didn't quite match up as you'd like, and that doesn't enable that block to come apart when he's going for those final blows. So I don't think he's going to be very happy with that cut.
Okay, both cuts are good.
Both axes held aloft. Celebration indeed. That is a very interesting time from Koen Martens. Like you said, Troy, it's not about winning the heats at this stage. It's about those times.
It's about trying to get the fastest time possible so they can make sure that they get those points in each of these
The leader before this discipline, I should say, Jamie Head. All to play for, 566 is the magic number.
Yeah, right now Danny Martin on the top of the leaderboard with 59 points, but that may change. We'll see.
Protective glasses on, very important in this and other disciplines. This is the fourth heat of the hot saw. This is the Swede, Emil Hansson. The magic number is 566. 566, that incredible time just set by Danny Martin is the time to beat. What's going through your mind at this stage if you're just setting up the hot saw, Sterling?
Well, if it's me personally, I'm thinking, man, this is a stupid event. But that's just me personally. Emil Hansson, though, as we said, absolute technician. And
it's a bit of a choppy run on that motor. I'm wondering if that is a sign of it not being warmed up enough.
No, that's a sign of a beast being wait to let out of a cage. These Wankel motors, they do sound a bit what we call dirty when they're not actually in the wood. They sound like they're running rough, but the minute that thing gets put under a little bit of load, they absolutely scream. And I've seen Emil Hansson cut a few times in his national championship and in other races, and he is very, very capable of posting a 5.66 time and jumping into that hot seat.
Here we go, this is heat number 4, Emil Hansson.
Small adjustment so you could see that all those moves.
Stand to your timber.
Checking everything. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
You weren't kidding about the way that beast works. And look at that time, 5.89 for Emil Hansson. 3 on the deck, that gives him 60 points. If he gets the thumbs up, that means Emil Hansson will take over the hot seat from Danny Martin. And it looks like we have 3 good cuts there.
We see Danny Martin split screen here currently on the hot seat. He's going to have to wait and see if this time is confirmed. And if it is, if it's rattled down, currently stands at 5.89, which is the second fastest hot saw time we've seen. But it would give him enough points, currently Emil Hansson, to leap over Danny Martin in first place. Let's see what the results from the judges.
All right. And your cut is good.
Emil Hansson's cut is good and the time is revised down to 5.77. It's still only the second fastest time today, 5.66 being Danny Martin's fastest time. But those points should stay as is. Would be good enough for first place. We have a new occupier of the hot seat, the Swede, Emil Hansson.
Absolutely, as you said, we see our first round of musical chairs as Emil Hansson jumps into that hot seat. And you know, again, we saw a very good cut. He stayed on the throttle there. He was going for the win. And he's got to be pretty happy with that cut. A little bit, it could have been smoother going in and out of the cut. As you see in the top, just that
little bit of a shake.
Bit.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to get down closer to 5 seconds or under, everything just has to be lined up exactly perfect. But I think Emil should be extremely happy with his day. He has a very, very bright future in this sport, and I think he opened a lot of people's eyes as to not only what he, but also the rest of the European competitors are now capable of. They've come a long way in these past few years, and it's he put on an amazing performance
Well,
today.
indeed. I mean, if my maths are right, with only 2 competitors still to go, Jason Lentz and Jamie Head, he's guaranteed a place on the leaderboard as such. So very exciting times here for Emil Hansson.
Jason Lentz, if he gets second or even third place, he'll move ahead of Emil Hansson here if he gets the second or the third fastest time. So he has really very little pressure, but under the circumstances, he's going to want to try and put the fastest time as he possibly can on the board so that he can prevent Jamie Head from doing any damage to his points. Let's see how well he does here. Time for the win, 7.24.
So 7.24 is the number to look out for. Should he be sub that, he would leap over Danny Martin and Emil Hansson into first place. It looks like that machine's been through some business, doesn't it, Sterling?
Absolutely. That Gingras motor out of the States, and I believe he'll be running one of his 404 high-tooth chains filed by his father, Timbersports legend Mel Lentz. So, you know, Jason's going to go for it. One of the best hot saw operators in the world. So expect to see some fireworks here.
30 seconds.
See them making their final preparations. Every athlete has a checklist that they go through, making the saws exactly where they want it to be, making sure their oiler's turned on. Decompression switch is one I would check as well.
This is heat number 5 of the hot saw. This is Jason Lentz.
Anthony, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3,
Emil Hansson
2,
covering
1,
his ears.
go.
Bit of a chunky start for Jason Lentz, but he's got good cuts and 3 on the deck.
Oh, it's
5:53.
lightning fast.
That is very, very fast. Jason Lentz with the fastest time so far, unofficially moves him to the top of the leaderboard.
Did I just see a yellow flag come out of the pocket?
Oh, we
I
did.
did.
Let's see what we have going on here. This could bode very well for Emil Hansson. They're checking to see if there's a cut line by the looks of it.
The flag has been thrown, the looks have been had. There's a little discussion here between Jason Lentz and the referee, Dr. Kutzenberger. We're going to get the result. This could be enormously important. Emil Hansson waiting on the hot seat for the decision.
I think he'll be safe, quite honestly, but we'll see.
Okay, we have a DQ, cut the line.
Oh, that is unfortunate for Jason Lentz. DQ for a cut line, so that leaves Emil Hansson safe on the hot seat, and that leaves it up to Jamie Head, our last competitor, to come out on stage. And basically, all Jamie Head has to do is cut better than a 7.24, and he's got it in the bag.
Danny Martin and Emil Hansson guaranteed silver and bronze at least here.
Oh,
wow,
right
there
Just
it
a bit
is.
thick on that far side. You see, not quite squared up to the log. Coming in a little bit too hungry. Yeah, he's not going to be happy with that at all, but he was going for it. You know, you can bet that he was going for a world record or at least a win, and sometimes when you come in that aggressive, things like this can happen. But also, the braveness of Jorg, our referee there, should not be understated for telling Jason Lentz that he was DQ'd.
The rules are going to be followed here at Timber Sports. But,
Absolutely.
I know exactly what you're saying. Absolute desperation for Jason Lentz. That mistake right there has cost him, potentially the World Championship, and he knew it immediately, didn't he? You saw that in his face. Right, so we've got one more heat to go. Who will take silver? Who will take bronze? Who will take gold? It'll be Hansson Martin or maybe this man, Jamie Head. So this is the 6th and final heat of the hot saw. This is the Australian Jamie Head, Danny Martin and Emil Hansson. Guaranteed silver and bronze at least. It all depends on what Head comes up with here.
And just looking at the leaderboard here, all Jamie really needs to do is put 3 on the deck, but sometimes that can be a lot more daunting than one would think. There's a lot of things that can happen. That saw's got to start first of all. And sometimes your inner competitor comes out as well. But,
so you're recommending a conservative approach to this, are you?
No way, man. Give her.
Last minute consultation with the referee Andy Hall here. We've had one DQ already in heat 5. We wouldn't want another one in heat 6. So making sure that all of the rules are followed here. So again, if he puts 3 on the floor, so in other words, 3 clean cuts and doesn't cross over the line, stands a good chance here of a good place on the podium.
I'd be curious to be a fly on the wall in this conversation right now to know what's being said by Andy Hall out there.
I think they're just making lunch plans for tomorrow, but I can't quite read.
I think they're deciding who's going to pay for the Uber later. Back to the hotel. Joking aside, this could be decisive. This is the 6th heat. We're being told what the problem is. Okay, we're hearing that Jason Lentz has put in an appeal against the decision of the disqualification. So we're going to have to check, or the referees are going to have to check, based on the appeal from Jason Lentz after the disqualification in Heat 5.
So what's the potential here?
Yes, this is an appeal of Jason Lentz. Under the judging team, we're discussing this appeal, and then we come back with a decision just in a few seconds.
Okay, so the appeal from Jason Lentz because of the decision on his cut line. So what's the possibility that or something that could happen here, Sterling? Is it maybe if the decision is made, is he allowed to do a recut? And would that make sense?
I don't know.
This is new territory here, Timber Sports fans. We've never had this before. So you can see the referees consulting with the Director of Sport, Spike.
With our 2 global sport directors there, Spike Milton.
Nathan.
And I see Nate there as well. Okay, all of the shakers and players here and the decision makers in STIHL Timber Sports are involved in this process. We're going to have to wait and see. Okay, should there be a decision by the referees here, what could it look like? What could the option be? Troy mentioned possibly a recut, or are the cookies still available? Can we go back and look at them again? How does that work?
Well, it also depends exactly what the appeal is based on. If he's appealing the cut line, and I don't have the rule book right in front of me, and I also don't read good, so but the judges could go back and look at the replay, or maybe the block wasn't squared from the start. I don't actually know. We're going to have to wait for a final word here, but we are in unprecedented territory.
Yeah.
A little bit of drama during a Timber Sports series
Fascinating
is nothing new.
stuff here at the World Championships in the Porsche Arena.
We started our day off with some drama. Why not finish the day off with some drama, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's exactly
it's
what
just
it
to keep
feels
things
like.
interesting here for our audience in Stuttgart and around the world, watching everywhere. So we'll get the update from our judges once they come back up on stage here, and we'll hopefully have a clear and concise decision for you as to what is in fact happening. And unfortunately, the problem here for Jamie Head is that adrenaline is ramped up in him, and right now he's probably shaking in his boots trying to just wait for this adrenaline to get shot out through that saw into the block.
Well,
just checking the machine there. Does he not want it to cool down too fast, or what's the thought there?
Absolutely. So these competitors all go out and are allowed a specific time to go and warm their saws up before they go out on stage. So the question also becomes, is it a disadvantage to Jim while we're waiting for this appeal, because his saw now cools down?
All right, we discussed the case within our judges committee. The appeal was because there was a noise in between the starter's cadence, but the judges committee decided that the appeal is not allowed and the DQ stands.
Right, fascinating scenes here in the Porsche Arena in Stuttgart. The complaint, the appeal by Jason Lentz was that some noise had affected his preparation in the warm-up, but that appeal has been denied by the judges, so the decision of the disqualification will stand. The time from Lentz will not go on the board, and we will see the 6th and final heat here from Jamie Head. Wow, scenes here in the Porsche Arena.
Warm up your saw.
All right, last wrap of the starter here. And we are up to our final competitor.
30 seconds.
You can see Emil Hansson there, screen and screen.
Athlete, ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Whoa, he ran into the block on his way up. I hope that doesn't affect it at all, but he's got 1, 2, and 3 cookies on the deck with an 8.57 time. Ooh, interesting here.
He hit the wood on the way up with the bar. Is that an issue, Sterling?
I bet that clenched old Jim up a little bit when it happened, I'll tell you that. How'd that feel, buddy?
Hands aloft here from Jim Head. He seems happy with it. If we get the final decision from the referees here, it would mean that he would leap over Emil Hansson into first place. Just waiting for the decision here.
And if this is a thumbs up, what a way to end his first ever individual competition appearance.
All right, your cut is good.
The cut is confirmed good, and with it, the new world champion for timber sports, Jamie Head from Australia. Congratulations, mate. Fantastic scenes here after the drama of the hot saw. Wowee.
Braden Meyer runs down, gives him a big old hug. Awesome.
He went for the safe option, didn't he? He went for the clever option. He got 3 on the board. He didn't want to make a mistake. There was that kind of dodgy moment there where he brushed the wood on the way up. But what a performance today from Head. I mean, from start to finish, he's been there or thereabouts from day one, right?
It's not just the performance he put in today. Jamie Head has been a part of this STIHL Timbersports series since the early 2000s, and he has been trying to make it to this stage his entire career.
And what a way for it to go today in his first ever appearance in an international individual world championship battle.
Incredible.
And he has done it. He is your new individual world champion for STIHL Timbersports. I bet you he's going to be ultra emotional.
Beautiful
Look at this.
scenes there. Already a hug from Emil
Congratulations
Hansson.
from everybody.
Exactly. Danny Martin hug as well. Danny Martin, what a day he's had.
Yes.
That'll be third place for him. The local boy from Germany. I'm not sure he was thinking that he'd be on the podium when the day began, but he was steady and strong all the way along. Used the audience, used the crowd to his advantage, and Emil Hansson as well. So there's the confirmation that Danny Martin had the fastest time in the hot saw. Hansson the second with 5:20, 5:77. Dubitsky's was a personal best, and then of course there was that incredible drama with Jason Lentz.
And this will be Danny Martin's first ever podium in an international individual competition.
Remarkable scenes here, absolutely fascinating. The DQ from Lentz was confirmed, which meant that he only took 0 points into the final results. That was only good enough for fourth place, unfortunately. That means that your new STIHL Timbersports individual world champion is Jamie Head from Australia. The silver will go to Emil Hansson, and Danny Martin, the German, will take bronze.
Interesting to note, actually, the 3 guys on the podium here today are all first-timers on the podium.
Extraordinary stuff. Sterling, talk us through this one final time, please, mate.
Jim really tried to make life difficult on himself there. You saw the saw actually kick over just to the side, and the bar caught the log on the way up. Right there, you see that, and I guarantee you that made his heart drop a little bit, but regained his composure, knew he just needed to make his 3 cuts, and Jamie's such a seasoned competitor. He did that. Oh, yeah.
And he got real close to the line on that 3rd cut, too. Let's get a closer look at this here.
Absolutely, but you know what? 3 on the deck. I can feel the relief as he backs away from that log.
Look at the smile on Danny Martin's face as well, though. He's absolutely delighted. The local crowd have loved this as well. They've been supporting him from the very beginning. Yeah, 3 that I think it's fair to say at the beginning of the day wouldn't maybe have had on that list. Jamie Head will be crowned the new world champion. Silver medal will go to Emil Hansson. And Danny Martin, the crowd favourite, he'll take bronze. Wow.
3 first-timers on the podium, and what a day for Jamie Head. His first ever appearance at an individual world championship, and he takes the title. Big congratulations to him and obviously Team Australia. I mean, dominant performances this weekend. Fantastic.
Well, exactly. We saw the team from Australia win yesterday, as Troy mentions. We've now seen the individual be taken by an Australian as well. The last reigning world champion was also Australian. What has the rest of the world got to do to try and break this?
I don't know. Maybe stop having flights come overseas, I think, at this point. Like, we're running pretty
Snatch
thin
those
here.
visas, right?
Absolutely.
No, joking aside, great stuff that we've seen today, wasn't it?
It was just amazing. It was amazing competition. Like we said, the grit and determination by those guys to make it through at the end, DQs and everything. So
thank you very much, Sterling. We'll go back to the arena to Florty for the final ceremony.
It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to the winner's ceremony of the STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championship 2023. Porsche Arena, are you ready to make some noise?
Porsche Arena, wo seid ihr? Die Athleten sind schon da und wir freuen uns jetzt auf die Winner Ceremony, auf die Siegerehrung. Und die Bronzemedaille wird jetzt übergeben von der Repräsentantin von unserem Sponsor von Ford, Patricia Zaba von Ford Marketing. Welcome. She is giving the bronze medal now to...
The bronze medal goes to Danny Martin, Germany, Bronzemedaillengewinner bei den STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championships 2023. The man from Germany, Danny Martin.
So, und jetzt hat Patricia Zaba von Ford die große Ehre, den Deutschen zu ehren. Die Bronzemedaille geht an Deutschland. Ein ganz besonderer Moment, den genießen wir jetzt gemeinsam mit Danny Martin.
Unforgettable moments here in Porsche Arena. He ended up 4th last year, and this year he made it to the podium. Letztes Jahr noch 4. Platz. Diesmal holt er Bronze. Nochmal ein Riesenapplaus für Danny Martin! Time to meet the silver medalists. The youngest competitor, coming last in the first discipline with an unbelievable finish. Let's give it up for the man from Sweden. Let's give it up for Emil Hansson.
Wow!
Was hat der für ein Finish hingelegt? Nach der Enttäuschung in der ersten Disziplin. Und jetzt eine Silbermedaille bei den STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championships 2023.
And the silver medal is given by Michael Messer, Managing Director Production von Liebherr Hydraulikbagger GmbH. Vielen Dank für die Übernahme. Er hat jetzt den schönen Moment vor sich, die Silbermedaille an den jüngsten Teilnehmer zu übergeben.
What a sensational performance. Da hängt sie, die Silbermedaille. One more time, give it up for the silver medalist. Make some noise for Emil Hansson.
22 years old, 22 Jahre alt und die Silbermedaille. Vize-Weltmeister. So, jetzt kommen wir zum großen Moment.
Porsche Arena, are you ready to meet the STIHL Timbersports Individual World Champion? Die Goldmedaille geht an the man representing Australia. Give it up for Jamie Jim Head. Just look at the face of the man claiming gold here in Stuttgart in Porsche Arena.
Teba, Vice Chairman of the STIHL Advisory Board and Member of the Supervisory Board. Sie ist die stellvertretende Vorsitzende im STIHL-Beirat und Mitglied im STIHL-Aufsichtsrat. Karen Teba mit der Goldmedaille für den Weltmeister.
Und jetzt hängt sie um seinen Hals, die Goldmedaille. One more time, make some noise for the STIHL Timbersports Individual World Champion, Jamie Jim Hay.
Wir haben aber noch eine Trophy, there is a trophy coming up. Eine ganz besondere Trophäe, designt und gebaut von Robert Pieringer aus Österreich. Da sehen wir sie, was für ein Prachtstück. Und wir freuen uns jetzt, dass diese Trophäe übergeben wird von Michael Traub, dem Vorstandsvorsitzenden von STIHL. The trophy is given by Michael Traub, Chairman of the Executive Board of STIHL. Wow!
What a picture! We're getting to see unbelievable scenes, unforgettable moments, as we would like to ask everybody in the arena to stand up and to stand and rise if they can for the national anthem of the winner. Meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren, wir dürfen Sie bitten, sich zu erheben, denn es folgt in wenigen Momenten die Nationalhymne des Weltmeisters. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dear STIHL Timbersports fans, the national anthem of Australia.
Sie haben es mal wieder gezeigt. Die Deutschen mit der Bronzemedaille und der jüngste Teilnehmer mit Silber. Wow, das ist ein Finale wie aus dem Bilderbuch. Phänomenal.
And of course, we'd like to invite all the other athletes to enter the stage. Gerne nochmal einen Riesenapplaus für alle 12 Teilnehmer, die heute hier unfassbar abgeliefert haben. Sandy, hast du etwas Vergleichbares schon gesehen? Ich nicht.
Nein. Ich habe es gesagt, ich war vor 10 Jahren das letzte Mal mit dabei und es ist 10-mal krasser. Porsche Arena, ihr seid so geil. Was für ein Wettbewerb. Ein großer Applaus auch für alle Athleten des Tages. Und jetzt freuen wir uns auf das Siegerinterview. Floti beim amtierenden Weltmeister, beim neuen Weltmeister.
Jamie, you can't get out of this one. The whole world was watching Porsche Arena tonight. It was an unbelievably close competition. And you're standing here on top, holding this wonderful trophy. Anything you want to say to the crowd here in Stuttgart? Anything you want to say to everybody back home?
Yeah, first of all, this is the best arena we've ever been to. I'd like to say thank you to the whole crowd, the Australian fans and the fans here, for everyone. It's what makes it worthwhile for all of us. That's why we travel so far to be here. And just like to thank my team, STIHL Australia, for everything they do for me. And, you know, I can't even believe that I'm standing up here.
Da kriege ich Gänsehaut. Er sagt, er hat noch nie in so einer geilen Arena STIHL Timbersports ausgeführt. Er bedankt sich vielmals beim Publikum, bei seinem Team. Und er hat gesagt, er hat bis zum Schluss nicht geglaubt, dass er am Ende hier oben stehen wird. Es ist ein Gänsehautmoment für ihn, es ist ein Gänsehautmoment für uns. Jamie, what are you going to do tonight?
Not much, mate. I'll probably go to bed. Won't have any beers or anything like that. That's not what Aussies do, eh? No, I'm pretty sure the boys have got a pretty big party in store, so we'll see how it goes.
Also er wird noch ein bisschen feiern mit seinen Jungs. Er sagt nochmal ein riesen Dankeschön. You can say thank you to the crowd because these are going to be the last words before we hand back to the studio. So this is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much to the crowd. Thank you to all the viewers at home. Can't do it without you guys. Big thank you to STIHL, most of all. Thank you very much.
Absolutely fantastic scenes here in STIHL Timbersports. And you know what you always get here at Timbersports is fantastically transparent, open interviews from the athletes. Congratulations from my side one final time to Jamie. Fantastic. Very quick final word from you, Sterling.
Yeah, you know, that was what a final. You know, it had everything. It had drama, DQs, personal bests. Super happy for Jim. Yeah. Extremely excited for the youth in our sport. Emil Hansen coming up there second. And I was looking at the leaderboard. After a loss, he was last place at the underhand. And he clawed his way all the way back to a silver medal. That's a lot of determination. And Danny Martin taking home a win in the hot saw and a bronze medal. That's a pretty happy podium right there. And I don't think we could ask for much more here in Stuttgart.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sterling. We'll do this again. Final word from you, sir.
Well, all I can say was today was an absolutely fantastic event. Congratulations to all the guys on the podium. Well done.
Thank you ever so much to all of you for watching. We've had a blast. Take care. Word of the day, butt log.